On behalf of Monsignor Bartilla, Monsignor Holmes, Father Nielsen, Father Mark, Father Greg, who's disappeared, on behalf of our superfine seminarians, who add joy to me even on this Easter night, because they are signs of the resurrection of the church. On behalf of the parish staff, the parish household, all of us, on behalf of Dr. Gordon and the choir, on behalf of Glenn, our fine organist, on behalf of all of us, the very best of Easter blessing, Easter joy, Easter hope to every last one of you. You are in our prayers, and we promise to continue to pray for you as well. Now, what a group of catechumens and candidates we have tonight. It's such that I have to save my energy for the baptism and the confirmation, and that means I don't even have time for 3 points. But I have time for 1 point. In the Eastern churches, at the great Easter Vigil, there comes a point where instead of reintroducing the Alleluia, because in the Eastern churches they don't drop the Alleluia during Lent. They just sing Alleluia mournfully during Lent. They do, but they never drop it. So there's no Alleluia to reintroduce. What they do sing is a very simple hymn that captures their Easter joy, and it's a one-liner. All of you who have been baptized into Christ have put on Christ. Alleluia, alleluia. And it actually says in the liturgical law for the East that the people may repeat this as long as seems appropriate to them. And so usually when I was pastor of a Byzantine parish, that would mean about 20 to 25 minutes of all of you who have been baptized into Christ have put on Christ. And it left a deep mark on me for that reason. Now, at the beginning of the Easter Vigil, you saw the Easter candle put on Christ. The Easter candle is our special sign of the risen Christ during the Easter time and all year round. It's a special sign of the risen Christ. Of course, it's a secondary sign to the Eucharistic presence of Christ crucified and risen, but it draws our attention in a special way during the Easter season, and especially at this liturgy. Many of you, if I were to say to you, come into church and point to the special sign of the risen Christ that we honor during Easter, you'd point there. And in a sense, you'd be right. But the sacrament of baptism is going to make you great young women, catechumens and candidates, signs of the resurrection, signs of the risen Lord, in a much more powerful way. Because actually, when you come to think of it, It would make no sense to say maybe that candle doesn't want to be a sign of the risen Christ. The candle has no choice. When I pushed 5 nails into the candle didn't feel a thing. But there it is, a special sign of the risen Christ. Through the blessing, the baptism in water, you great young women and men, catechumens and candidates, you become, and we all become, signs of the risen Christ that are more basic and more powerful than the Easter candle, because the Easter candle cannot speak and proclaim Jesus Christ risen. The Easter candle needs us to give it its meaning. It needs us to proclaim the Easter praise, the Easter hymn of praise to the candle, which Dr. Gordon did so beautifully tonight, and in perfect pitch. And perfect pitch is a hard thing, but in perfect pitch. And we're so grateful to him. That's really all I want to say to you. When you come in here and you're looking for the special sign of the risen Lord, it's you. That's what baptism did to you. That's what baptism does to you. That's a big deal. Because of your intellect and your free will, you will be a more powerful sign of the risen Lord than that candle, as beautiful as it is, could ever be. Don't anybody get the idea that I'm knocking the Paschal candle. Because if that word gets around, my office will get a call tomorrow from the Washington Post, as it did about the washing of the feet. So, realize the gift you get tonight. And when you look at that candle, be stirred with devotion, hope, and joy in the risen Christ. But when you look at yourself as baptized, when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you look at one another, feel that joy and that hope. And what can conquer that joy and that hope? Really nothing. We heard it during the beautiful hymn of praise to the candle. This night brings an end to all darkness and gloom. That's the power of the risen Christ. The candle is the sign of that. You, as baptized, are signs of that. And you can do an awful lot more to work toward the end of darkness and gloom in this world than the candle will ever be able to do. We're so grateful for you and grateful to the Lord for his calling you to be a sign of the resurrection. When times get tough, remember, you're a sign of the resurrection. God gives you the grace through baptism and confirmation to look like a sign of the resurrection. So never get discouraged. Never get discouraged. Darkness and gloom are put to flight by baptism. And the one who carries that special sign of baptism on his or her soul is none other than you and all of us. Praise be Jesus Christ.